And my very favorite character, my very favorite toy to come out of this decade of excess was, of course, the figure who represented everything great about this nation of ours. He was tall, handsome, strong, protected our freedoms wherever there was trouble. Most importantly, he had a kung fu grip. That's right, G.I. Joe, a real American hero. Fighting for freedom wherever there's trouble, be it land, sea, or air, G.I. Joe was there. Whether he was battling terrorists or overthrowing democratically elected leaders in South America, G.I. Joe stood for what was great about this nation. But even though G.I. Joe was a manly man, he was still just a man. He still wanted to find someone to share his life with. His dangerous life didn't really lend itself to what he wanted most, to settle down, have a family. But when you're parachuting into Cobra Island, or piloting a Ghost Striker X-16 through enemy lines, or overthrowing democratically elected leaders in South America, he had a lot of chances to go out dating. So one night, G.I. Joe decided he was going to get his life on track. He knew he didn't want to be in the military forever. He was looking forward to using the GI Bill to go to trade school, to get his degree in TV VCR repair. And he knew that he needed a relationship to share that magical life with. He made his way through the heart of downtown. The streets were loaded with singles bars, a fairly recent phenomenon that popped up in the 1980s. G.I. Joe couldn't believe it. Bars for single people? That was great. So often he was stood outside in the cold looking in heartbroken at regular bars who only let couples in. But now there were bars where people could just go by themselves. Truly, he was living in the greatest country on the planet. He picked the bar with a giant American flag flying outside. But when he went in, they had a framed photo of Walter Mondale by the bathrooms. Joe left. He didn't want to hang out with any pinko commies. That joke's hilarious. Read a book, okay? He went to the next bar. It too had an American flag even bigger than the one at the first bar. And instead of photos of known enemies of the state hanging on the wall, its hallowed halls held the smiling face of the greatest president of the United States of all time, Ronald Wilson Reagan. Joe knew that this was the place for him, so he bellied up to the bar and ordered the manliest drink he could think of, gin and Mountain Dew. He sipped his drink and scanned the bar, the same way he used to scan for snipers in the mountains of Grenada. There were a lot of women here, but most of them had very modern haircuts. Then his eyes fell on the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. She was blonde, tall, with a graceful swan-like neck, and the perfect body, you know, the kind that makes you wonder where all of her organs went. She was wearing a pink party dress, pink high heels, and drinking a pink drink from a pink glass. Pink wasn't Joe's favorite color. His was a three-way tie between red, white, and blue. But this beautiful woman made the pink work. He wanted this woman. He wanted her more than he wanted America to annex Canada, saving our neighbors to the north from the creeping dread of socialism. He wanted to go to be with her, but he couldn't make himself move. Come on, Joe, he said to himself. You've wrestled Bengal tigers and committed assassinations to protect American oil interests. Why can't you talk to this woman? Maybe I'm not as brave as I thought I am. He was about to finish his drink when he realized the woman in pink was coming straight at him. Hi there, sailor, she said. I'm not actually a sailor, said G.I. Joe. Well, sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm a pilot, and sometimes I'm a Marine, and sometimes I'm in the Coast Guard. I've always liked a man in uniform, no matter how many uniforms it is. Hi, she said. My name is Barbie. Hi, Barbie. I'm G.I. Joe. What kind of last name is Joe? Well, it was originally Jose, but my grandfather changed it at Ellis Island. She smiled at him with a gleaming, perfect smile. Joe felt himself melting, as if he was standing under a giant magnifying glass in someone's backyard. I'll let that settle in for you, that's fine, that's fine. I like your dress, he said. Thank you. It's brand new. It looks very expensive. $19.99 plus tax at Kmart. Only in America could you get a deal as good as that. Can I buy you a drink? Absolutely. Joe looked down at the pink glass. What are you drinking, Barbie? Whiskey and Pepto-Bismol, she said. Joe returned with the drinks. So, Barbie, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a model, she said, and a teacher, and a ballerina, and a veterinarian, and a waitress, and a lifeguard, and a chef, and a babysitter, and a secretary. She went on like this for a very long time. Wow, said G.I. Joe, that's a lot of part-time jobs. What are you, a Missoulian? Barbie laughed so hard at that amazingly funny joke that Pepto-Bismol and whiskey sprayed out of her nose and all over her dress. Oh no, said Joe, let me help you with that. He tried to clean her dress, but he only made it worse. Here, let me get you to a bathroom. He led them to the bar's gender-neutral bathroom. Joe wasn't sure what he thought of gender-neutral bathrooms, but if it gave Americans the freedom to pee in more places, then he was totally for it. As Joe went to the sink, Barbie locked the door behind them. She spun to look at him with a mischievous glint in her perfect eyes. I think my dress is ruined. She started undoing the long strip of Velcro that kept her dress together. I think I should take a closer look. Joe was shocked. Barbie dropped her dress. Her perfect, nippleless boobs pointed directly at him, just like the wing of a Tiger G-16 bomber. He looked down. She wasn't wearing any panties. He stared at her smooth, detail-less plastic crotch. It was the sexiest thing he had ever seen. She stepped out of her dress, still wearing the pink heels up to her almost at eye level with Joe. I want to have sex with you, she said, because she was a modern woman, unafraid to ask what she wants. It reminded Joe of Margaret Thatcher, and he became even more aroused. Joe quickly tugged off his pants and underwear. Barbie walked forward and reached out for him, her hand gently tracing Joe's own smooth, detail-less plastic crotch. Oh yeah, she said, that's what I like. No genitals whatsoever. With a sudden burst of sexual energy, Joe took Barbie in his kung fu grip and held her against the wall of the gender-neutral bathroom. He felt his detail-less plastic crotch slide against her detail-less plastic crotch. Yes, moaned Barbie. Oh, rub your smooth plastic junk all over me. Fuck me like a playground slides. The two of them slammed the plastic for 20 minutes, completely lost in ecstasy. Joe had never felt so alive. This was so much better than killing people. Barbie wrapped herself around Joe and nibbled on his ear. Did you know, she whispered, that my Malibu dream house has a back door? Right as Joe was realizing she wasn't talking about the floor plan for her home, but rather a sex act he wasn't even sure the two of them could physically do, the gender-neutral bathroom's door burst open. Both looked on in terror as a man wearing a salmon-colored blouse and cut-off jean shorts stormed into the room. Ken! Barbie yelled. What are you doing here? Well, I could ask you the same thing, Ken said. How could you do this to us when I'm at home raising your two little sisters? And you're here playing bumper cars with this asshole? Barbie bumbled her dress back on and Joe fumbled into his camo pants. Damn it, Ken, I work like 60 part-time jobs. When I get a day off, I need to unwind a little bit. Supposed to you're getting wound up, then you're getting unwound then, Barbie. You're such a fucking pig, Ken. This can't surprise you. Ken pointed to Joe. What does he have that I don't? Well, a government job, for one. He's also more of a man than you'll ever be. His crotch is twice as smooth, twice as detail-less, and twice as plastic as yours. Joe, used to making a mess out of things and having to sneak out, did just that as the couple continued to argue in the gender-neutral bathroom. I mean, he'd gotten out of Kent State, after all, with no problem, so getting out of the singles bar unseen was a piece of cake. Read a book, that's funny. He stood outside in the rain. He thought of Barbie. He knew it would never work between them, not just because she had a boyfriend with terrible fashion sense, little sisters, or more part-time jobs than me, Charley Macorn. He knew that it wouldn't work because Joe already had a love. Her name was America. And even though they've had their ups and downs, and even though she was still incredibly racist, he loved her. Maybe the life of a simple TV VCR repairman with a loving wife in the suburbs of Malibu wasn't for him. Maybe his life was dedicated to protecting the greatest nation of them all. He kept telling himself this lie for the rest of his life. And that's what made him a real American hero. Ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary, please, Charley Macorn.